Hello and welcome to Wellbeing Therapy Solutions. My name is Martin Crayson, and today I'm joined by Wellbeing Therapy Solutions new associate, occupational therapist Marjolein Cleaver. Marjolein, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me on the broadcast.
How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, doing all right.
Good. We thought we'd do this to give you a little chance to get to know Marjolein a little bit better, and so I guess one of the best places to start from, Marjolein, is to just ask you to tell us a bit about yourself and what makes you tick, I suppose.
I know, it's always an interesting part about people, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I'm Marjolein. I'm an occupational therapist like Kate, and I'm also a mum of a 2-year-old little boy. Keeps me very busy, especially likes to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. Right.
Yeah. What about popping into the background on broadcast? Does he like to do that? Can you get in today? Should we expect
that? Not today. Maybe not today. I might.
Famous last words.
If you want to know all about Thomas the Tank, we shall arrange it. He will keep you going for a while.
Okay, we'll bear that in mind for a future broadcast. From your name and your accent, Marjolein, I take it there's a little bit of European there?
Yeah, it is. So I'm originally from Belgium.
Okay.
And yeah.
Whereabouts? Whereabouts in Belgium?
I'm from a little place called Leuven, which is also the city where Stella is from. So
Stella Artois?
It is. That's where it was made. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So, yeah, beautiful little place. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. And do you miss anything about home? Do you miss anything about Belgium?
Yeah, I do miss the culture.
Okay.
Because Belgium's not very far away, I don't normally notice it so much because I can go back regularly and see friends, family. But it's been a good 2 years now because of the pandemic and everything that I've seen people. Bet. So I do miss it more. It's funny, after, what is it, 16 years now, I believe, that I've been here.
Wow.
You still miss. It's like I've got two home countries. Which is a nice thing a lot of the time. I go home to see family and I come home to come here.
Two homes.
Two homes, I think, is the best way to be.
Okay. And as well as missing Belgium home, what do you like about England home?
I love the culture here. I think people are really friendly. Obviously, Belgian culture is very similar. Like, we love cafes here. You've got pubs. Belgians are all about the food. Everyone's a feeder. Can't go anywhere without being given food. Usually need a diet once we've been to visit. And you know, it's similar culture here, and I think the sense of humour is often quite similar as well. So yeah, I just feel really at home here.
Okay, great. So you're an occupational therapist now, fully qualified occupational therapist. But what got you into this sort of work, and when did it all start for you? Many years ago. How did you get into it?
Yeah, so I got into youth work at quite a young age myself. I guess I was probably still a youth, really, at 18, 19 years old. I loved it because it was very creative. It was about people. And I often found myself sitting with young people that were having maybe a hard time, found it hard to join in for various reasons, and just trying to support them a little bit. And I always found, like, I wish I knew a bit more. I wish I could help them a bit more. And then became a bit tricky to work in youth work. Kind of when the economic climate turned, it was very hard to find work. So I sort of left it there and then started thinking and researching what else I could be doing, and found out about occupational therapy. And it was just this like click, like it just fit it together. I was like, that's the extra bit I wanted to offer my young people and just didn't know. So embarked on kind of doing the training for 3 years, working alongside, obviously, when you're older, you have to. And I just absolutely love it.
Are there any specific areas of it that you love more than others?
I guess I'm really passionate about mental health and people's own well-being. And I find occupational therapy gives real practical ways for people to support themselves. So with occupational therapy, you're almost always trying to get yourself out of a job. You're sort of working with people, but giving them tools they can use so that they can then take them forward, and then you sort of, kind of finish your bit of time with them when they feel confident to take it on themselves. So you're always giving them things they can kind of use for themselves and
Sure.
practice in their own time and take it from there. And I love that about it. It's like you're giving people something that they can keep, that they can carry on with.
Yeah, it must be tremendously rewarding when you hear back from people who you've helped or you've worked with, or you see them at a later stage and see that the things that you've spoken to them about, they've put into practice, and it's actually put them in a better place.
Yeah, that's what I really love about the job, is when you see kind of that difference in people, and even just a difference in maybe they're more open about things, or how they're tackling life themselves. It's really brilliant to see.
You also sound like a real people's person, like you genuinely enjoy being around other people. What is it that you find so fascinating or so interesting about that side of your job?
Yeah, I've always been a people person. I think from a young age, always had lots of friends, chatting to everybody. And so the pandemic brought its own challenges, because I'm always sociable. I'm always out meeting people for coffee, having a chat, doing things together. I just find people, because everyone's so unique, and I know sometimes that gets cheesy, but I genuinely think that's true. People have their own take on life. You can have a similar experience, but they might, experience it really differently. I love hearing people's stories. So not too long ago, I was working in palliative care, which is obviously very different from what I'm doing now. But actually, hearing stories from people who have had often quite a long life, it's just completely fascinating, and their take on life and how things were different before. And that was just,
there's a lot to learn, isn't there?
Interesting. Absolutely, yeah.
Talking of which, we've all learned a hell of a lot during the past 2 years of a pandemic, which is hopefully starting to be on its way out. How has that changed? How's it changed the world? It's a bit too big a subject, but how has it changed occupational therapy and the demand for people with your sort of services and skills?
Yeah, I think it's really brought to the fore this kind of need to look after our own mental well-being. And I like calling it mental well-being rather than health, because it's not just when you're not doing well that it's important. Actually, when you're doing okay, it's important to keep yourself in that place and know, but like you said at the start, what makes you tick. It's knowing what keeps you in that place, what your pitfalls are, but also what kind of keeps you doing well. And I think because all at the same time, we all, kind of had things taken away from us, whether it was hobbies or it was people we couldn't see. The pandemic kind of hit us all at the same time, which is a very different experience, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I think for everyone, it took away a little bit of our resilience, a little bit of the something we fall back on to keep ourselves well, whether it was the gym. For me, that was going out, seeing people. To suddenly not be allowed to do that was very strange, going for a coffee if someone is not allowed. How is that not allowed? Obviously, within the context, it made sense. But it's not something we could have predicted before it happened, really.
Yeah, sure. Do you feel that one of the knock-on effects, in maybe in a positive way, of the pandemic is the fact that the idea of well-being has been brought more to the fore in popular culture and within news and television and radio, and that more and more people now accept that positive well-being on a personal level is very, very important in part of our daily life?
Definitely. I think we've seen on a grand scale what the knock-on effect is of not having very good well-being, of that kind of really being challenged. And I think a lot more people are happier talking about it now, which is great for us to see. That it does become more people can talk about it more. They understand maybe a little bit better what it means and what kind of the knock-on effect of it is. And I think people are now prioritizing their own well-being more, or looking for new ways to kind of, support themselves in that way.
You're already a big part of the Wellbeing Therapy Solutions team, having joined now. What attracted you to work with the company and with Kate Jackson?
So I know Kate from before, so we have worked together before, and I've been friends since, really. So we know we work well together, which is good. And when she sort of set up Wellbeing Therapy Solutions, I was just really fascinated because of my own passion about mental health. Just following her social media. Obviously, because of the pandemic, couldn't catch up to kind of talk about it. So I followed it a bit more from a distance and just thought, this is brilliant. This is stuff I'm really passionate about. That would be my dream job. This is incredible. And just love some of the videos she put out there just for people, again, to support themselves, that you can rewatch, in your own time, or rewatch to have an extra practice of looking after yourself. And and it just evolved from there, I think.
Okay, so
Yeah.
with demand going through the roof, it's a very good time to be part of the Wellbeing Therapy Solutions team, I guess. And I suppose you're excited about just being able to get on with it and try and make a difference to people.
Yeah, it's really exciting just to be able to use that knowledge that we've got within occupational therapy and just applying it to people's everyday lives. It's just really, it's just a brilliant place to be.
Am I right in thinking that as well as all sorts of work that crosses that spectrum of occupational therapy, you'll be specialising specifically in work with younger people, Marjolein?
Yeah, I think because of my background before I qualified as an occupational therapist, for me, it's just putting two and two together. I'm really passionate about working with young people. I think it's such a key time of your life. I think for all of us, we can think back to when we were teenagers and people that were really good or really bad influence. And actually giving young people those skills to use for themselves, I think sets them up really brilliantly to, become adults and to choose their own path and their own way in life. So I think it was almost natural that I sort of went towards working with young people and working in schools as well, because I think it's always good to do sort of groups as well. If you can talk to, different people at once. I think a group brings another lovely dynamic where you see people supporting each other. It's not all about me and someone else. They can sort of, as a group, work together, which just brings a different way of chatting, I think. I do also work with adults. I'm quite happy talking to adults. In my experience, I've worked with people of quite literally all ages. I think we all just need to work. There's all things we can improve. We all need to work on our mental well-being. So,
looks like it's going to be a busy few months and years ahead, Marjolein. That is for sure.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be bored. But I love being busy. I love having stuff to do. So this is perfect for me, to be honest.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Before we say bye-bye, folks, thanks a lot for joining us as well. And hopefully you learned a little bit more about Marjolein during this chat. If you'd like to get in touch with her through the business, email address is on the screen now. And that just leaves me, Martin Crowson, to say once again, thanks for your time, Marjolein. Great to chat today.
You're very welcome. Yeah, lovely to chat to you.
And we'll catch up again soon. Thanks very much for your time. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.